What's up, O fans? It's Sam here with Olight Canada. The Black Friday sale is on and active right now on olightstore.ca, and one of the biggest new products that we're dropping is one of the smallest. It's the Oclip Pro. One of my favorite aspects of Olight as a brand is the way that they integrate and iterate their design process. Now, the Oclip Pro is a slightly bigger version of the original Oclip, but it's learned some lessons from the parent series of lights, and of course, it also integrates some design aspects from the Arcfeld series. So please stick around. We're going to dive deep on the Oclip Pro, where it comes from and where it's going. So stick around, don't go anywhere. And if you are going to go anywhere, go to olightstore.ca to shop the Black Friday sale. Let's start by comparing the Oclip Pro against its predecessor, the original Oclip. Now, they're about 15% larger, but that allows you to have double the battery life, from 280 milliamp hours, double that to 580 milliamp hours on the new one. That's a lot more power and a lot more runtime. Now, you might recall that the orange Oclip had a floodlight style of beam, and the other colors had a spotlight style of beam. They both had red light mode as well. Now, you no longer have to choose if you want your Oclip to be spot or flood. You have both of those built into the Oclip Pro using a very awesome little rotary switch, just like the one that you find on the Arcfeld Pro. Now, you can choose between your red light, your spotlight, and your floodlight very intuitively and very easily. Another thing I really appreciate about this switch design is the fact that if you push the light forward towards the LED, that's your floodlight location. If you point it up towards the top of your light, that's the spotlight location. And if you push it all the way back, that is how you activate red light mode. So in effect, if you have it on your jacket like this, and it's off, you want to turn it on, but you want to make sure that it's in red light, well, you just play things close to your chest, push it all the way back, and that's your red light mode. If you want to go spotlight, you want to see forward, you select the middle location, and that's kind of like pointing the way. And then you click it to the front location, and it's kind of like the floodlight is spilling forth. And that's kind of how I think about it. Very intuitive switch design. Another thing they absolutely nailed is the side switch. Now, it operates just like a side switch on any other Olight that you might already be familiar with. One click to turn it on, one click turns it off. From off, you can press and hold to go into your moonlight mode. Anytime the light is on, you can press and hold to change your modes, low, medium, and high. And of course, double tap for that 500 lumens of turbo output. Now, where things vary a little bit is with the flashing modes. Now, each white LED, the spotlight and the floodlight, both have 2 flashing modes. So for a total of 4 white flashing modes. From off, if you triple tap, you'll get into your strobe setting. And you can actually switch between spotlight and floodlight while it's strobing, which I think is pretty cool. If you turn the light on and you triple tap again, you'll get the slow beacon mode. Now, the beacon flashes once every 5 seconds, and again, you can switch between spotlight and floodlight beacon settings depending on your needs. So that covers the white light user interface. Let's talk a little bit about the red light user interface. We've learned some lessons from both the Oclip and the Perrin series. But we've learned and grown from that into the Perrin 3, which now has a red light beam that is completely pristine. You can press and hold to go into your flashing setting, and you can double tap for your brightest red light output. So that is what's been echoed in the Oclip Pro. So one click turns it on in the regular low mode, press and hold, you get your flashing mode, and double tap gets you a nice bright, really nice spill of red light. Now let's run through the modes out here in the dark. Now, this is the lowest red light setting on a partially discharged Oclip, and here's the high brightness red setting. Now, downrange, we're going to look at high mode and turbo on the floodlight, and while in turbo, we're going to switch to the spotlight. So as you can see, the difference between the two is very stark. This is a pure flood, and this one is a really nice hotspot beam. Another thing I like about the hotspot beam is on those lower modes, you can still see a lot further than you can with the floodlight. So there is room to be subtle on those lower outputs, but still get some of that distance. So with 5 spotlight brightness, 5 floodlight brightness, 4 total flashing settings, and then 3 additional red settings, that's like 17 different brightness outputs on the Oclip Pro. That is a lot. Now, another really cool thing besides the switch that we've talked about already is the difference in the charging port. Now, this has a steel. It's magnetic. That's how you can tell it's a steel charging cover. Very nice, very robust. And the charging port itself has internal waterproofing. So even though it has the steel flap covering the charging port, it's actually more waterproof than the original Oclip. This one had a rating of IPX5. This one gets a rating of IPX6. So if you drop it in a puddle and you get it out fast enough, then I think you're going to be just fine. Now let's talk a little bit about the clip. This one, very similar with the spring and the rubber pads, but the spring is a lot stiffer. It's a bit of a thumb workout. Yeah, I feel like I don't need to play video games after this. I got my thumb workout all done right here with the Oclip Pro. Now let's talk a little bit about runtime. Now I've done testing on the Oclip Pro, both indoors and now outdoors, and it doesn't exactly match up with the published numbers on the owner's manual. Now, if you turn to the owner's manual, you'll see turbo will do 500 lumens for 1 minute, followed by a reduced output for 50 minutes. Now, indoors, it does dim down after about 60 seconds, but that is purely to prevent overheating. After a certain amount of time has passed in that drop down state, you can double tap the light again and it will go back up into turbo. So indoors, you can get turbo for multiple minutes. Outdoors, I was lucky to get turbo for 60 seconds, and it is kind of paradoxical, but I think that the battery doesn't play so well in the cold. Here in November in Saskatchewan, it's -5 degrees tonight, so it's a little chilly. When it goes from green to orange, that indicates that your battery level is below 60%. It goes from the green indicator down to the orange indicator pretty quick out here. Now you do still have access to high mode, but turbo goes away pretty quickly outdoors in the cold, just because the battery voltage can't sustain that high of an output any longer. But you know, high and turbo, that's not everything. There's also medium mode, which in my testing ran for almost 4 hours. And moonlight mode is said to last up to 6 days. From orange down to red, that means you're at less than 30% of your remaining voltage, and then you only have access to moonlight and low mode. You can access the lowest red light as well. Now, a few quick notes about how the Oclip works in the real world. And when I'm not in the studio, generally I do find myself in the real world. So this is what that looks like. I find the #1 place to clip it is to the zipper of your jacket. Get in there. So on some jackets, it actually works great because you can see the indicator, get a good idea of your battery life. It's on there really good. Both the floodlight and the red light points right out in front of you where you need it the most. You can walk the dog with it. You can use it hands-free. It's perfect for this application. And a couple more things. I do happen to be wearing a fancy button-down shirt this evening. So if you have a button-down shirt as part of your uniform, you could use it in this fashion as well. Speaking of uniforms, I've also run this by a couple of police officers and people in the tactical gear industry, and it works great on a MOLLE vest. Now, another way that some people have chose to use it is on the toque. Now, this is workable in a pinch. If you needed to, you absolutely could wear it on your hat. But if you're walking around, moving around, the things can flop around, move around with you. So this is sort of a plan C. I'd much rather have a headlamp around, but like I said, in a pinch, this will do. So there you have it, the Olight Oclip Pro, a huge innovation compared to the original Oclip, learning lots of lessons from the rest of the Olight lineup and taking design cues from some of Olight's most popular models. This thing is a pretty wicked little tool to have along with you. You can get it in a few different colors during the Black Friday flash sale on olightstore.ca, as well as a bunch of other really cool stuff to look at. If you haven't already, check out my holiday gift guide here on the channel, and check out olightstore.ca to shop all the deals. Please leave a like on the video, subscribe to the Olight Canada YouTube channel, and thank you for watching.